Hello, hello. Happy Sunday. Happy end of the weekend almost. Seems like a good time to start off the week right with some magic. Hello, I am CounterTop Commander. If this is your first time here, I play Casual Commander almost entirely, and I play Commander, well, or EDH exclusively. I don't really play any other format, so you're not going to see me jumping on Arena or anything like that. I play a couple times a week, or I generally try to. Sometimes my schedule doesn't really allow it. Um, and then I do a nice little gaming session on Saturday, Saturday morning. So Sundays, I think we're going to continue keeping it pretty chill with decks using decks that I basically have as teaching decks. So I use these decks in front of us to kind of show off or show how to play in very basic ways. So if you're coming into the stream and you're not sure how to play Magic, you're welcome to ask questions, and I'll kind of go through the motions of playing the game, and we'll go from there. So on Wednesday or Thursday is the other stream that I do, and I generally play whatever I feel like at the time, which could be absolute chaos or something a little bit more serious. I don't generally have any really competitive decks. I have decks that can stand up a little bit to some a little bit higher powered decks. Still not really within the competitive realm whatsoever. Last week on Sunday, we built a little bit of a rougher deck, so I might be trying to test that out later this week. But for now, let's go and get started. So we're playing today. We're playing elves versus angels versus zombies versus thopters. So each of them are single color decks, and they're all tribal. So they're going to have very tribal themes in the sense of just trying to, like all of the ones in this elf deck are all they're all pretty much all elves, and we're trying to, like the build is to try to make them work together in a good way. So let's go ahead and take a look at our opening hand, and I think we had an okay opening hand. It's not great here. So we have 4 lands, which is probably a little bit more than we want, especially because we don't have any ramp elves in our hand. But that being said, we have a cute little Quirion Ranger to untap a mana elf if we do get it. Now, we also have this Ivy Lane Denizen to make our creature stronger, and then on our top end we have this Voice of the Woods that we'll pretty much use to close out the game if we can. Just because his ability is so strong, it makes 7/7 tramplers, so it's going to be pretty strong. So starting, oh, there you go. There's our mana elf. So that's definitely something that we're going to play later. For now, we'll just play a forest. And while I do have the mana to go and play Quirion Ranger if I want to, I'd rather wait until we can get Ivy Lane Denizen out so we can get the effect with it and be able to untap Devoted Druid a lot easier. So moving on, our second deck is Angels. They have the Elf deck has definitely a swarm feel to it, whereas the Angels have a life gain sub theme. So that's definitely, we're going to try to take advantage of that, especially with Regna, the Redeemer. It generates tokens whenever you gain at the end of any turn you gain life. So we're starting off with a solid hand of 5 lands, and I say solid very sarcastically here. It probably could have used one less land, but that being said, we're now pretty much solid of getting Regna out the turn that we need her to. And then we have 2 life gain related cards, Bishop of Wings, that'll give us life whenever we play Angels, and that's really low cost, so that's good. And then Proper Burial, so whenever we lose a creature, we'll gain life. So let's go ahead and another Plains, so that's good. We'll go ahead and play that Plains and pass the turn. The third deck that we have is we have this zombie build, which has been a little bit of a boogeyman. May need some trimming to make it a little bit nicer. So it's kind of more equal power with the rest of the decks. The zombie deck is exactly what you think. Necromancy and zombies and killing things. So we have an okay three land hand starter here. And we have a couple of the Oh yeah, we have a few of the really good zombies in hand, so we'll see how it goes. I'm not sure, but we will find out here shortly. Oh my gosh, seriously, Gravecrawler, that's what we're going to do? Apparently we're starting early with the nonsense, so we will play the Crypt Breaker. And this means that we will absolutely be discarding Gravecrawler next turn to get a free zombie, and then we'll be able to, the turn after that, play Gravecrawler from our graveyard, so we don't really lose any card advantage there. The final deck is Master Thopterist, as leading a mono blue deck filled with artifact cards. And that's pretty much all we're doing is just, we have a good hand to get out easily, and then we have sort of artifact, like ramp and shenanigan type cards, and then something to make cards cost less. And finally, Thopter Spy Network, so we can double up on the Thopters that we get for playing artifacts. So yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting here. Abjure, that's not quite what we want to see. It's a kind of weak counterspell, considering we definitely don't want to sacrifice Sai if we can help it, but it may be something later on. So we're going to wait to play any cards until we get Sai Master Thopterist out. Oh, let's see. Hope everybody has been having a great week. Let's see. I think we're going to hold off on that one as well. I really would like... Well, I guess we want to do Devoted Druid here. Yeah, because that will allow us to get out Ivy Lane Denizen next turn. And probably what we'll do is... I guess we can actually do we'll be able to power out a bunch of cards next turn. There is I've been not secretly working, but I've been prepping an article to release for a site called Iron Age Media. It's going to be a place where you can find like new creators, like literature type stuff for books and comics and things like that, indie type stuff. So definitely go check it out when you get a chance. I think that article is coming out on Tuesday, maybe. So I'll find out here soon. Another land, seriously. Well, we got all the lands we will ever need to have for casting all of the angels in our deck. Hopefully we draw an angel or something instead of more land, so we can actually play something here soon. Because everybody else has got some... Gravecrawler is going to be doing some pretty crazy things here. We are going to discard our Gravecrawler and create a zombie. So let's go and get that 2/2 zombie. Seems pretty good to me. More zombies, more all the time. I've always liked this Sai Master Thopterist deck. Sometimes it's really explosive, and other times it just kind of peters out a little bit. And I don't think that there's necessarily a way to break that down too much, or to, you know, like make it so it's not quite as janky like that. But I don't know. We'll see. So Chief Engineer, that's going to be good to getting out some of this other stuff that we have. Especially because I think that means, let's see, pays for 1. So we can reduce the cost to 0. So most likely next turn we'll cast Sai with the last island that we have. Then we will tap both of our creatures to play Silvermere. And that, I guess, well, yeah, so, yeah, we'll do that for Silvermere. And that means that even if we don't draw a land the turn after that, we can still do Thopter Spy Network on our following turn. Yeah, I think that's what we want to do. Yeah, because we'll do Sai, we'll get out the Silvermere, and then the following turn we'll have Silvermere's mana to get us to 4 for Thopter Spy Network. So that should be good. Okay. Elven time. Let's see. Viridian Joiner. That's not too bad. Now, let's see. We're going to do this. We're going to tap 4 for Ivy Lane Denizen. Let's see. So we're going to untap Devoted Druid. And the reason that we're doing that, so it's going to get a -1/-1 counter here. We'll put it on the bottom side, right? Actually, let's do it like this. We'll put it on the bottom side. So we still have 1 mana up. So we're going to tap it for another mana to play Quirion Ranger. And because Quirion Ranger came into play, we're going to put a +1/+1 counter using Ivy Lane Denizen's effect. So let's see, what else do we want to do? I think... Let me think about this. So we can play the Elvish Sky Sweeper, but I almost want to try to get some mana on, or some of the +1/+1 counters on Viridian Joiner, so that it taps for a bunch of mana each time, instead of just 1 extra mana, which we could use to play Elvish Sky Sweeper, but I'm wondering if I want to hold back on playing that one. So we will... I'll pass the turn now. We still have some options for getting some more green creatures out, so it's not that bad. Angels. Draw. Well of Lost Dreams. Okay, well, that is a very strong card, but unfortunately it's not doing us any good this turn, so we'll just have to wait until we can play both Proper Burial and Well of Lost Dreams, so that whenever we lose a creature, we can pay a bunch of mana and draw a bunch of cards. Well of Lost Dreams is so good. Let's see. Untap. Draw a card. Heartless Summoning. Well, that would be interesting. We're not going to go ahead and bother with that right now. So, what do we want to do? Actually, so I think what we're going to hold off on the discarding for Cryptbreaker. We're going to pay 2 to play Eternal Taskmaster, and then 1 more for Gravecrawler. So then, by the end of the Angel's turn next time, what we'll be able to do is we'll tap 3 of our zombies and draw a card. So we'll try to start drawing more cards, even though we're losing some life for doing that. That's kind of the really cool thing about Black, is being able to pay life and kind of not worry about it so much, because we start off with 40 life. So we have a ton of life to take advantage of. Let's see. So Whirler Rogue, that'll be a different turn. Let's go ahead and Master Thopterist, and then we will tap both of them to play Silver Mirror, and that's going to get us a free Thopter. So let me go and grab our Thopter. And actually, well, so we could do Manifold Key as well, but I think that we want to wait until we do Spy Thopter Network, so that we can double up on the Thopters that we're getting. So let's hold off. Hold them horses a little bit. And just move forward into the elf turn. Part of the difference with competitive play and casual play is going to be how often, when you're playing competitively, there's going to be a lot of interrupting what other people are doing, and stopping them from kind of building up the way that this is going. You know, like we have 3 different decks that are all building up. The 4th one, the Angel one's kind of being a little slow. It'll get there. So, like, instead of all of this, there's going to be a lot of back and forth with destroy this creature, stop this thing, stuff like that. Whereas with casual play, there's going to be a lot more build up over time of, okay, everyone's trying to do their own thing for a while. Okay, so Wirewood Lodge, very, very good. Let's go ahead and play that. We'll tap 3. We'll play Viridian Joiner. And because a green creature came into play, we can put a +1/+1 counter on it. Let's go ahead and do that again. We'll play the Elvish Sky Sweeper that'll give us a second +1/+1 counter. So now that Viridian Joiner is going to be tapping for 2 mana each turn, which is really, no, 3 mana each turn. So that's crazy good. Let's see, what else do we want to do? So we can't get too much more mana, so I think that... So we can get 1 mana here, we can get a 2nd mana and a 3rd. Well, we could get a 3rd mana if we wanted to, in order to play Elvish, or Azuri Renegade Leader. Maybe, let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to tap Devoted Druid 4 mana, then we will untap it, using its own ability, put a -1/-1 counter on it. We'll tap it for a... for a 2nd mana. Then with Quirion Ranger, we return a force to its owner's hand. So we return this to our hand, and we'll untap Devoted Druid. So we'll tap it for a 3rd mana. We'll go ahead and play Azuri Renegade Leader. That'll put a 3rd counter on Viridian Joiner. So we're actually kind of already set up to do some insane shenanigan nonsense. So let's go ahead and pass the turn. We're already ready to overrun somebody next turn. So everybody better pretty much watch out at this point. Let's draw a card. Karmic Guide. Okay. Well, that would be great if we could do anything with Karmic Guide yet. So we'll go and pay 4. We'll play Proper Burial. It's a start. It's not great, but it's a start. So after that, we are going to pass the turn. That's what we're going to do. We need a little bit more mana to be able to do anything significant, so just passing. Okay, zombies. Untap. Untap. Draw a card. Oh wait, no, we're going to tap 3 creatures to draw, tap 3 zombies to draw a card and lose a life. So that's the card that we drew. We drew Cryptic Vagabond, which is not too bad. But it also means, let's go ahead and take a look at our life total. So the zombies are going to lose a life. To do that maneuver. And we will draw a card for the turn. Swamp. Okay, Cryptic Vagabond isn't doing us too good. Anything particularly useful right now. And we do need to play a card this turn, so let's go ahead and play a Swamp so that we can get Deathmark Prelate out, and that way we can start killing off elves when we need to, because there's nothing else that we can really do about it. Yeah, that's unfortunately all we get to do this turn. We're going to have to, we'll draw an extra card depending upon whether or not we'll probably draw an extra card anyway, just to try to get us closer to maybe a Wrath effect or something. We're kind of relying on the Angel deck to maybe have some Wrath effect to get rid of the elves. Unfortunately, they didn't play one, so maybe they have a 5-cost one. I don't know. We'll find out. And of course, we're talking in this. we are speaking. Oh, this is at the beginning of our upkeep. We get a free one. Oh, Let's see. Interesting. What do we want to do here? I guess we really do want the Thopter Spy Network because it'll draw us extra cards. Let's go and do that. We'll do Thopter Spy Network because its second ability is whenever one or more artifact creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. So we want to draw extra cards if we can. So let's do that. Let's see. So let's go ahead and tap Psi Master Thopterist for Manifold Key, and that will get us another Thopter. It can't attack this turn, but that's okay. Let's see, can we... So we can't fish out another... We don't have enough creatures to tap if we want to attack. So let's go ahead and attack. We will swing against the elf deck for 1 damage, and because we dealt combat damage, we will draw a card. And wow, an island. That was particularly useful, kind of convenient. This is our second main, so we will pay 1 and 2 more to play Inspiring Sanctuary, which will get us another Thopter if I have one already sitting out. Let's see. Thopter. There we go. So we have those guys tapped, these guys tapped, and an untapped Thopter. Awesome. Yeah, this is artifact spells you control have Convoke. Interesting. And now non-artifact spells we have Improvise, so we can use our artifacts to essentially add mana to pay for non-artifact spells. We have it both ways. We have creatures can pay for artifacts, and our artifacts can play non-creature spells, basically. Okay, is there anything else that we want to do here? And I don't think so. I think that's all we can do, unfortunately. So we're going back to elves and seeing if they have the ability to crush everybody. Probably just one person, I'm guessing. Crush them. Let's see. Hang on a second, sorry. Okay. Let's see. Untap. Draw a card. Let's see. What do we got? Oh, interesting. Colorless forest land. Ooh. That actually is like really good. That's very, very useful because I'm looking across and I'm seeing that Deathmark Prelate, or Death Mask Prelate, something like that. And it's going to be able to destroy some of my elves. Basically an elf every turn for free because the stinky, icky Gravecrawler comes back from the graveyard. So what we could do, we could either... See, here's the problem. So if we leave... We could... The obvious choice with this Song of Dryads is to cancel out the prelate so it can't destroy our creatures. But it's sort of hinging on Gravecrawler, which has other capabilities. That's the other problem with this, is that Gravecrawler itself enables a bunch of different shenanigans that I don't really like. So if I take out the Death Mask Prelate, if I take out the prelate right now, then I at least solve an issue that I have right now. But the Gravecrawler is a problem that I will continue to have over the course of the game. So this seems like a really tough choice, but at the same time, maybe this means that I try to wipe out the zombies. So let me figure out what my mana situation kind of looks like. So I'll be able to play a land, but that's not really doing too much of anything. So let's go and see. So if we pay 3 mana for Song of Dryad, that's almost guaranteed what we're going to do. Although, I guess if we go ahead and play this land here, so we have Song of Dryad on the side. We'll go and stack this right here so we know what that mana is being used for. But then we have this Wirewood Lodge and the Quirion Ranger. So if we do this, we can tap this for 4 mana. Let's see, amount of... Yeah, equal to its power. Okay, so we can do that. We can tap this one more time. Or we can use Wirewood Lodge to untap target elf. So we'll untap Viridian Joiner. So we had 4. Let's see, let me get some dice here to help represent. Yeah, okay. So we have 4 mana. We tap this again, we get another 4 mana. We use 5 of that, so we have 3 floating in the air. Actually, do we want to do... Yeah, we'll do that. So that's... Well, we used 5 of it to activate Azuri Renegade Leader to give everything, all of our elves, +3 plus... sorry, +3/+3 and trample until end of turn. Then let me think. We can Quirion Ranger, return a forest back to our hand to untap Viridian Joiner. So now he taps for, 7 mana, I believe. Let me think about that a second. Viridian Joiner, it's 4 power, adds 3, yeah, so 7. So it taps for 7 mana now. So if we tap this again, we get 10 mana, and we can activate Azuri's ability 2 more times. So we can go ahead and use this to say we tapped it, or we activated Azuri 3 times, which means that now creatures I control, elves I control, have +9/+9. Wow, that is insane. That is very, very good. Okay, so what can we do? Let's I think at that point we just go ahead and all out attack one player. So let's see if this is, can we get away with less than that? So 9, 27 damage just from that. I think we need to go over because the zombies can block. I think maybe we just go ahead and attack with all of our stuff. I think that makes the most sense. So we'll do that. Which means, though, that this Song of the Dryad may not actually matter. Let me think about this. So Cryptbreaker is a 1 power. They have a zombie, so that's 2 more. The Taskmaster guy that has 3 toughness, and then the Prelate has like 3 toughness, I think. Sorry, I'm spinning it so I can take a look here. Yeah, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 9 toughness. So it can essentially, with the creatures that it has out, it can block 9 of the damage from this attack that we're doing. Thank you, clock. A little on the slow side, but that's okay. Okay, so that takes out basically one of these. So that's 1 more damage on top of that. Then we have... Yeah, that should be enough. We want to attack with all of them, so we can still defeat it without even using Song of Dryad on one of the zombies' creatures. So then we can Song of the Dryad something else. And the angels I'm not, like, terribly concerned about. I'm more concerned about the ability of the artifact deck to go crazy. So what is the worst card that they have there? I'm thinking actually Psymaster Thopterist may be the worst card, the strongest card that they have. So this will this basically entirely nullifies their commander, because they need to get rid of either the Song of the Dryad, or they need to find a way to sacrifice a land. I think that's pretty good. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and just ram all of the elves into into the zombies, and they're going to die. Wow. Okay, so that was a very, very quick death. That was a lot quicker than I thought that it would be. But to be fair, these can go quick. They have the potential, pretty much all of these decks have the potential to kind of go just bananas out of nowhere. So it's okay. Let's see. Draw a card. Speaker of the Heavens. Oh, well. That's not, like, terribly useful. So let's go ahead and play a land. We will play Speaker of the Heavens, and we will play Well of Lost Dreams, and we'll see if we can't, like, I don't know, do something at least. We'll see. We have 1 blocker, basically. I mean, if we have to block with 2 creatures, then we have to block with 2 creatures. I imagine that we are going to play a second game today. For sure. Absolutely. And probably elves not going first. Yeah, the elves are definitely going to have to get put in its place next game. Okay, so yeah, our poor commander is now a forest land. So we have one more mana, but that's not that great. Let's see. Untap, upkeep, Thopter Spine Network gives us, yeah, if we control one, then we get a colorless Thopter. So let's go ahead and do this. We are going to change this so that we have, let's see. Oh, that's fine. We have 3 of these Thopters. That's how we're going to keep track that way because otherwise it's just taking up a whole lot of space. So let's see. A forest, not fantastic. So I think that what we have to do is we need to draw a card. We need to draw a bunch of cards, honestly. Let's think about this. I think what we do is we go ahead and attack with Chief Engineer. I could attack all out, but I'm not quite sure what that really helps us. I mean, none of this really helps us. We can't get the elf life total down quickly enough, so we really just need to try to draw a card and hope that it's a good one. So we dealt a damage, we drew a card, Steel Overseer. That's very little too late, unfortunately. So I guess we'll go ahead and play it, though, just because we can. And we'll also probably play the Panharmonicon, not that it matters either, and this needs to tap. Okay. Actually, let's go ahead and change this, because we can... Having a blue mana up is probably okay. Yeah, there we go. So we can still do Abjure if we need to, but this isn't looking too hot. So, elves. What you got? Let's see. Untap. Untap. Upkeep. Draw a card. What are we drawing? A forest. That's okay. Let's go and play that forest. I mean, honestly, just like kind of repeating what we did before is probably the best option. And they can block fewer things. The Thopter deck can block fewer things. So the Angels have so little that I'm not really that concerned about whatever they're going to do. Even though they have the mana now, they can start wrathing the board. I'm also sort of like, meh. Let's see. Oh yeah, and Query and Ranger, we can activate that on somebody else's turn. So we can actually activate that to untap Viridian Joiner, and we can basically regenerate everything other than Azuri. So, what do we want to do? We could play Voice of the Woods, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe we should. Does that afford us anything interesting? Because if we do this, and we play Voice of the Woods, then Viridian Joiner gets another counter. Which means it taps for 5 mana, and every single activation of it will get us the additional mana that we need. So, can we do this in a way that doesn't kill... Yeah, I think we can. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to tap Viridian Joiner for 5 mana, so we're going to activate Azuri one time. We'll put it on... Let's move this. So Voice of the Woods can't do anything this turn. He's going to stay down there. So we activated Azuri one time, which means that everything has +3/+3. I guess this means that Devoted Druid will die this turn, but that's okay. I'm kind of okay with that because we have Voice of the Woods, so Yeah, that's okay. So let's see. Let us. Well, actually, so we'll do Quirion Ranger, return a forest to our hand, so that we can untap Viridian Joiner. Let's see. We'll tap this guy for 5 more mana. Yeah, let's just go and get rid of Devoted Druid. It's okay. So, Viridian Joiner taps for 5 more mana. We're going to activate Azuri one more time. Then we will untap Devoted Druid using its own ability, -1 here. And we will use that to tap Wirewood Lodge, untap Viridian Joiner. We will tap Viridian Joiner another time. So that's 3 activations. So everything is +9/+9. Let's see. So if we, since we know Devoted Druid is going to die here, let's see. Do we have, actually, I'm trying to think if it makes any difference if we just attack instead of, because we have 3 activations of this. We're only going to get maybe 1 more activation tapping. So what we can do, sorry to explain, I'm not spilling my thoughts here. So Devoted Druid is untapped right now. Oh no wait, did we? No, it is tapped right now, so that we can do the Wirewood Lodge. So essentially, because Azuri gives +1/+1, I mean +3/+3, we can activate the Devoted Druid multiple more times now, without it killing itself, right? We can't overtake because we need 5 mana from Devoted Druid to be able to get +3/+3. So at some point we don't get any more benefit out of it, unless, you know, like, we'd have to have a way for Devoted Druid to tap for basically enough mana to have Azuri activate an equal, like, we need to even that out, so we're not putting 5 +1/+1 counters on Devoted Druid in order to get only 3 power. We need to do something where it meets parity to get an infinite combo. And I do believe that it is possible to do that. I think the Great Hinge actually does that. Let me see. It's a card I don't have. So I have to look it up. No, it doesn't. I was mistaken. Let me see. I think there is a card that does it, but here's the Great Hinge. So, excuse me. Itself taps for 2 mana, and then non-token creatures put +1/+1 counters, almost similar to how Ivy Lane Denizen works, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure that there is an elf. Sorry, that's not what I wanted. And actually, we're going to just put it to -40 so that the zombies fall off. Okay. Yeah, in any case, so let's go ahead and activate Devoted Druid one more time so that we can attack with it. And now, let's see. What do we want to do here? We probably want to wipe out the Thopters. Let's go ahead and say that we pretty much do. I mean, this is enough. We know that it's enough because it's 5 times 9 with trample. So the Thopters are done for now. So it's really the well, we'll in the turn Devoted Druid will die because it loses all of the gains from all of them wonderful gains from Azuri Renegade Leader. And then we'll see if the Angel deck does a Destiny draw here and gets a Wrath effect. Not a Wrath effect. So yeah, that's actually it. We'll go ahead and play it out real quick. And all it's going to be is we do 5 mana for Herald of War. when an angel enters the battlefield, we gain 4 life. When we gain 4 life, we're going to pay 1 using Well of Lost Rune's ability to draw a card. And of course, the next card is literally the card that we need to do this. Destroy all non-land creatures. That is so crap. Of course it is. Of course, right there. That's what we needed. Okay, well, that was a very, very quick game, so we're going to play a second one. Again, if you are watching and you don't know anything about Magic, you are very welcome to... Actually, we're going to start with the Angel deck, so Elves are going to go last now. If you have any questions, please do ask. I mostly know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I flub a little bit, and I'm not the expert I used to be. Let's put it that way. I used to be a lot better. I used to essentially know pretty much the comprehensive rule book from front to back. Like I could tell you the numbers for where rulings were. You know, like, oh, you needed to know all of the rules associated with Cascade. I could tell you what number Cascade was, kind of thing. But it's been too long since I've really looked at any of that stuff. So, despite that, though, I do know the rules decently. So you're always welcome to ask questions, and we can try to answer. Or if you have any other questions, not necessarily related to gameplay itself, but maybe deck building or something like that. We did a deck building session last week, I think I said earlier. So those are always questions that you can ask. Let's go ahead and we're going to one by one. We'll clean up the other decks as we get to them, but for now what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and start turns. So let's see if the Angels got an okay hand. And anything that has Smothering Tithe is kind of feels like maybe a good hand, especially because we're 1 mana off from getting it. And Slate of Ancestry is going to be great for us to regain all of the cards in our hand, basically, when we can. So I think this is a decent hand. It's, again, a little slow because all of these cards aren't cards that we can cast immediately. And we're still 1 mana off from playing some of the higher end ones. We won't be able to do this guy, but this guy is going to be really interesting because he gets +1/+1 for each creature with flying in play, which means the Thoughters will start counting for Radiant. But we'll also have Sarah Avenger, which is not too shabby. It's just we can't play it immediately, that's all. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to do this again without some kind of crushing victory from the Elf deck. Oh, and land. Awesome. Perfect. So first, second, or third. So we'll be able to play Sarah Avenger on our 4th turn, which means we'll probably just play Smothering Tithe instead on our 4th turn. So spinning around, let's go over to the zombie deck. The zombie's getting to go second this time, and maybe they'll be able to play something interesting. I mean, the zombie deck always plays something interesting, but I kind of also want to try to do some crazy stuff with the commander, because I really like the commander, Ghoul Caller Gissa. Being able to sacrifice something and getting more power out of it is really cool. You know, essentially you're sacrificing a big creature and turning it into double the amount of small creatures, essentially. It's a little slow because it costs 5 mana to play, but it has a pretty cool effect for this sort of gameplay where we're kind of all casual and not trying to just absolutely crush like we just did with the Elf deck. The other thing about it, the reason that I allow some of that stuff in there is because I said that these are beginner decks, and I think that it's important when building a deck for beginners to have some kind of crazy stuff in there, because the moment you figure it out, like if you're a new player and you have the cards in your hand, you're looking at them and you're thinking really hard and you're like, wait, does this mean that I can do this thing? And you figure it out. That moment is really, really cool, and it feels really, really good to be able to do that. And I want to be able to capture that for anybody who's playing new. So that's why there's some of that kind of nonsense, because I'm not generally playing all of these decks all at once. Normally I'm playing only 1 deck at a time. So I can't, necessarily do that every single... I'm not doing that every single game. We had other hand, like the zombies and the thopters and the angels didn't explode, right? And so that's how it's often going to be. Often going to be. Let's see. So we only have 2 mana. Ouch. But one of them is Jet Medallion to reduce costs, and then we have Ashnod's Altar to try to add more mana to our mana pool. Now, let's see. Yeah, fraying Omnipotence will definitely go really well if we can get it out. And needing only 4 mana to be able to do it might be good. Newscraft Mob is pretty good. I think, let's go and try this zombie hand. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this fully to a beginner to play just because it's so low on land count. But I think maybe we can get away with it. So let's go and see. Mind Stone. Okay, well, there's another mana. It's not quite the mana that we want, but it'll be okay. It'll work out. We'll be able to make it work. So let's go ahead and play that Swamp and pass. So like I said, we haven't cleaned up from the last game, so we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. This Thopter over here. Oh, this needs to be mixed in. Okay, good thing that the elf deck is last this game. Because that would have needed to be shuffled in before. I completely forgot about that. Okay, let's go and do this. Master Thopterist also has kind of some push-win buttons in it. And that's generally because the Thopters themselves are often really weak. And that needs a lot of, like, the Thopters need a lot more build-up than the Elves do. And that's basically because the commander draws us extra cards and gives us Thopters. But it doesn't make any of our Thopters stronger. Versus the elf deck, for instance, makes makes its own elves really, really powerful. So we need a little bit more oomph in places, and it's also, I think, let's see. So the Thopter deck has Darksteel Forge to make everything indestructible. That's not quite a push I win button, but it is really close. And then there's the enchantment that you choose either Mirrans or Phyrexians, and if you choose Phyrexians, then you have the chance of making players lose the game. Or yeah, I think it's you have you can make a player lose the game or something like that. So, but you need like a bunch of artifacts in your graveyard, so it's kind of a. This is possible to achieve, but it's kind of difficult to get there unless it's really late in the game. So. Let's see, what did we get this time? Maybe I didn't shuffle this very well. Well, okay, well, we got a different card in here, so it's a kind of similar hand, but we'll see. So, oh wow, lots of islands. Okay, well, that's not super appreciated. We need artifacts. We need the artifacts to be able to do things. And finally, this is our last deck to reshuffle here. Once we remove all of the dice and everything. I could see changing the commander for the elves, but I'm afraid of changing it and then it ends up like way too weak because the elf commander that we chose isn't as good as Azuri. I've had a number of kind of swingy games with the elves where they kind of, if they get blown out one time, they can kind of fall way behind and then never really pick back up. And Azuri helps prevent that a little bit, but at the same time, it also activates, like we saw last game, where you get 3 activations of Azuri in a single turn, and there's just nothing that you can do to keep up. Let's get done shuffling here. Okay. What do we got? Oh, interesting. Crop rotation. That's a decent one. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, Ivyline Dennison. Huh. Okay, well. I mean, this is going to be... Yeah, this... I'm not sure what I want to make of this. Huh. So this isn't... This has like a kind of wonky hand. It has stuff that goes together, and it has protection with Nature's Claim, so we can get rid of something. And we also have crop rotation, so we can go and grab something good if we need to. I don't know, I guess we'll play it and see how it goes. It could end up being meh, but... Well, Nettle Sentinel, I mean... I don't know. I could see this being okay, but we definitely need some more land, and we need some more land quick. So, kind of too late now. Let's go ahead and play it and see how it goes. Elves definitely getting on the low end this time. Oh wait, I need to reset the game. Reset all players. Okay, great. Okay, so Angels back again. Plains. Okay, well, at least we'll have enough mana to cast anything that we need to. So we have that. Let's see. Yeah. Let's go ahead and pass. Sarah Avenger will just be a card that we hold on to for a while, and then when we need to play cheap Angels quickly, that's what we'll do. Is we'll be able to do that. So, Zombos. Swamp. That's good. Let's go ahead and play the Swamp. This is a kind of a tough choice. So both the Mind Stone and the Jet Medallion are really good. I think I'm going to go ahead and play the Mind Stone this turn, and I'll play the Jet Medallion next turn. And sort of the reason for that is that Mind Stone will give us a little bit... It gives us one more mana to cast something, which is what Jet Medallion would do next turn if we didn't have the Mind Stone. We would basically just be able to play Vengeful Dead for one less mana. So it's almost doing the same thing. Jet Medallion over the course of the game will give us more mana, basically, than Mind Stone probably will be able to. But... The difference is that we have more options with Mind Stone at this point in the game than we do with Jet Medallion. So we're going to go and play the Mind Stone first. Island. Yeah, we don't really have anything else that we want to play, so artifacts are going to sit out one more time. We'll be able to play Psy next turn and then an artifact next turn as well, so that is good enough. Let's see. Elves. Forest. Okay, so that actually is going to start getting us on the path to doing something really cool. So let's play that. We could play... let's see. We could play Nettle Sentinel and then put Presence of Gond onto the Nettle Sentinel. So then we can create elf warriors. So every time we cast an elf, like a green spell, we can create... We essentially get a free elf out of it. So maybe that's what... Let's go and do that. We're going to play Nettle Sentinel. So, because basically what happens in Nettle Sentinel untaps whenever we play a green spell, and then Presence of Gond will allow us to retap it to create an elf. But at the moment, we can't really do anything... And we won't get to next turn. We'll get to create one elf, basically, next turn. But we won't be able to start going crazy or anything. So. Angels. Angels again. Plains, nice. What do we got? Nothing. Nothing. Waiting for that Smothering Tithe to give us all the mana in the entire galaxy. 3 free mana every turn. We'll be able to cast all the spells forever. Okay, draw a card. Plague Belcher. Interesting. Okay, so what we can do here is we can start working on doubling up the Vengeful Dead. Yeah, maybe we do that. So let's go and tap 2. We'll play Jet Medallion. We'll play our land. We'll tap 2 more. We'll play Plague Belcher. So when it comes into play, we put 2 -1/-1 counters on a creature we control. And then whenever another zombie you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. So we'll go and put the 2 counters right there. So now it's a 3/2 instead of a 5/4, but that's okay. Vengeful Dead next turn. So that's good. This came at the right time so they could play 2 spells instead of having to wait until next turn to play another spell. And this also means that we can do Ghoul-Caller Gissa when we need to. We could do Ghoul-Caller Gissa next turn if we wanted to. And Sai is... Oh, see, here we go. Marone Besieged. Okay, so Sai is coming out this turn, absolutely. We could use Marauder Besieged next turn to get a bunch of tokens, and I think that may be what we do. So whenever we play an artifact, we'll get 2 tokens instead of 1, and we could use those to sacrifice and draw extra cards. So let's go ahead and leave it at that, and the elves will get their chance to shine. So what do we got? Elvish Guidance. Whenever... Oh my gosh, whenever Enchanted Land is tapped for mana, its controller adds 1 green to his or her mana pool for each elf in play. So let's go and do this. We'll tap 2 here. We will enchant Nettle Sentinel with Presence of Gond, and then we will tap the Nettle Sentinel in order to get an elf. So I think we just have these, like... Technically, this is showing that it's a dual-colored elf, but we're not going to create dual-colored elves. That's the tokens that I have. And we will pass. So this means that next turn we can enchant. We'll play a forest. We will enchant that forest with the enchantment that has us be able to tap the land for a number of mana equal to the number of elves we control. And then that'll untap Nettle Sentinel, which we will tap for another elf. Then we will tap the land that gives us 3 mana to play another elf spell, which will untap Nettle Sentinel. And crazy planes. Let's go ahead and do that. Smothering Tithe now. Smothering Tithe, the almost absolutely broken card. Almost, I say. Ah, nice chimes. Okay, untap. Upkeep, draw a card, and we are not going to pay the cost for what's-its-face, for Smothering Tithe. So that means that Smothering Tithe is going to activate and give the Angels essentially 1 additional mana next turn. Kind of sucks, but that's how it is. So, let me think about this. I kind of wish that we had another zombie. I don't really want to get rid of Vengeful Dead. That's why I have a problem. But let's see. Let's go ahead and just maybe set it up so that we can start doing something crazy. So we'll pay 4 mana, reduced by 1 because of Jet Medallion to be able to play our commander. And that means that when we need to, we can sacrifice a zombie in order to create X 2/2 black zombie creatures where X is equal to the sacrificed creature's power. We also have Illusionist Bracers in hand. So now we'll be like quadrupling the power instead of doubling the power. So I'm okay with this. I think maybe actually, since we're not doing anything else, let's go and attack for 3 against the Angel deck. So the Angels don't have anything to block, so they're just going to take 3 damage. Yeah, we'll continue on. Artifact deck time. So untap, draw a card. Planes. Okay, no, we need there's artifacts in this deck. There absolutely are artifacts in this deck. Give me the artifacts. So we'll play Marauder Besieged. We will choose Mirren, so we get, whenever we cast an artifact spell, we get a 1/1 colorless mirror creature token. So let's go ahead and play Manifold Key, which means that we get a 1/1 mirror and we get a 1/1 Thopter. So next turn, we can always do something like sacrifice two artifacts to draw a card, and we will use Academy Ruins. So let's see. Let's go and just... We can return stuff with Academy Ruin. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, pass the turn. We're not attacking anybody. And also, Smothering Tithe got another counter because, of course, it did. It's not really getting counters. It's getting treasure token. Like, it's creating tokens, but still. So, Nettle Sentinel doesn't untap during my untap step. Let's draw a card. It's a forest. So, we could destroy... Let's see. What do we want to do here? I think what we do is we'll set up the thing that we were going to do anyway. We are going to enchant this forest with Elvish Guidance, which untaps Nettle Sentinel, which we will tap. So we'll have 2 of these Elf Warriors, which means we tap this for 3 mana. And let's see. So we tap for 3 mana. Unfortunately, we don't get additional mana, but we're not going to pay the cost for the Smothering Tithe, but we are going to now Nature's Claim and destroy Smothering Tithe. So they have 3 treasure tokens, but Smothering Tithe is gone, and they gain 4 life for doing that. So they're above starting life total now. They're at 41, but now they don't have just crazy amounts of mana to do whatever they want to. We have some floating mana. Oh wait, that untaps Nettle Sentinel. Let's go and tap it again for a 3rd elf. We still have 2 floating mana, so we're going to use one of them to cast Crop Rotation. And as a cost for that, we have to sacrifice a land, and then we get to search our library for a land. And that's going to untap Nettle Sentinel as well. So let's see, what do we want to get? There's only a couple of lands here that are really good to get. There's Oran Reef, the Vast Wood, which like puts a +1/+1 counter on each green creature that enters the battlefield this turn. So that is a thing that we could do, but Wirewood Lodge is just so much better that it's kind of like, why wouldn't you get that basically every single time? So let's see. No, we don't have anything else. So let's go and put Wirewood Lodge into play. And we will shuffle our library real quick. So we have 1 green floating mana left. So if we did have a 2-cost elf, then we could do something. Or even a 1-cost thing, we could still do something. But all of our stuff, unfortunately, costs too much. So I think we have a 4-cost and a 3-cost. Yeah. 4-cost and 3-cost, unfortunately. We could get... Reliquary Tower is another one that you can get for this deck, but we're not drawing additional cards. We don't have any of the green cards that do that for us. There's a few. There's not a ton, but there is a few. And that would be another choice for this particular build of elves. So let's go and do that. And we will tap 1 last time to put another elf into play. So we have that many. We have 4 elves. Let's see, what else do we want to do? I'm just kind of like, I'm not sure that I want to attack with the elf that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and pass. And we just, oh wait, actually, so, geez, we have 1 floating green mana. We will tap Wirewood Lodge to untap Nettle Sentinel, and we will tap it 1 more time. We have 6 elves now. How crazy is that? Just so much mana all of a sudden, just because of that ability. I haven't actually been able to do that yet. So, let's see. Untap. Keep draw. Sunblast Angel. Ooh. 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 Let's play a land. Maybe that's what we're doing this turn, because that gets rid of the Nettle Sentinel and the Plague Belcher, which could be a big problem later. So we have 5, 8 mana. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We're going to double up here. We're going to pay 5 and 6 to be able to cast Sunblast Angel. And I guess, yeah, let's go and use the other 2. We'll go and play Sarah Avenger as well. I think that's okay. Because we're running out of cards like really quickly, and we'll replenish them with Slate Ancestry. So I'm okay like doubling down right now so that we can get the the Slate of Ancestry, because Slate of Ancestry draws cards equal to the number of creatures you control. So the only creatures that are tapped, Sunblast Angel comes into play and destroys each tapped creature. So we have the Nettle Sentinel and the Plague Belcher destroyed. That should help calm down a little bit of the shenanigans. Just a tiny itty bitty bit. Sunblast Angel could be used in different manner, like right after somebody alpha strikes, but I'm kind of okay going ahead and getting rid of some like sort of combo pieces at this moment. Okay, Mausoleum Secrets. So we don't have a ton of mana, unfortunately, so we can tap 2 here, play Illusionist Bracers, but we can't equip them this turn. So instead, let's go ahead and we're going to do this because it makes the most sense. We're going to play Mausoleum Secrets. So search my library for a black card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of creature cards in my graveyard. Reveal it and put it into my hand. Shuffle my library. So Plague Belcher is 1. So we need to find something that costs 1. Of course, I mean, if you play zombie decks anymore at all or know anything about zombie decks, then you know what I'm about to go get. And that is, I am going to grab our favorite friend, Gravecrawler. Nightcrawler. That's what I should do. I should change this card to like a zombie version of Nightcrawler. Actually, that makes me think of something. I wonder if I can get a good image of like a really decent image of like a zombie version of Nightcrawler using Midjourney. So I've been playing around with the AI art generating program. I know there's some downfalls to it, but I still like it. I think it's really cool for generating inspiration, essentially, on the fly. Being able to be like, yeah, I would like something that looks like this. How could it might look, just to like kind of get the creative juices flowing. So we're going to get we use Mausoleum Secrets to get Gravecrawler. Let's go ahead and tap 1 here for Gravecrawler. So we can't tap Ghoulcaller Gissa, but next turn what we can do is we can equip Ghoulcaller Gissa with the Illusionist Bracers, and then we can sacrifice Gravecrawler. And we can start doing that each turn and getting... So instead of, like, normally when we sacrifice Gravecrawler with Ghoulcaller Gissa, we get 2 zombies, 2 zombies. With the Illusionist Bracers, we'll get 4. So it's going to quickly cascade out of control. Like, just 4 free 2/2 zombies a turn is insane. That is way too many zombies each turn. So, artifacts. Untap, draw a card. Artifact? Yes, an artifact, an actual artifact for once. Okay, so let's go and play this. We will pay 3 Inspiring Sanctuary, which means that we get 1 more Thopter and 1 more Mirror token. Let's see, another purple, that would be good. Oh wait, this needs to be 2, and this is 2. Okay, so what else do we want to do? So we could use Inspiring Sanctuary to get Whirler Rogue out. So maybe that's what we do. So we'll pay 2 blue. We'll tap Manifold Key and Inspiring Sanctuary in order to play Whirler Rogue, which gets us 2 more Thopters. So we have 4 Thopters now. And that'll allow us to maybe draw a bunch of cards next turn, I think. I think that's maybe what we'll do. Because what we can do is we'll attack, and then we'll sacrifice artifacts to try to draw some cards. Maybe only 2 cards, but that'll be fine. And we'll probably just sacrifice. We'll start with the mirror tokens, basically. But, okay, untap, draw a card. Oh, Heritage Druid, that's so unfair. Okay, well, that's how it goes. Let's see. So we can tap for 5 mana here. Let's see. So we do Ivy Lane Denizen. We have 1 floating, 1 left over, basically. Let's do 1, 2. We'll do 3 mana. We'll cast Azuri Renegade Leader. We'll put a +1/+1 counter on Renegade Leader from our Ivy Lane Denizen. Then we will tap 1 more and cast not Impure is perfect. Heritage Druid. That's what we want to do. Heritage Druid. And we'll put another +1/+1 counter on Azuri Renegade Leader. Just making it stronger and tougher to be able to do stuff, basically. Okay, so we still got to do a bunch of things, even without the insanity of Nettle Sentinel, but it would have been better if we could have had... If we could have had the Nettle Sentinel. It's gone. Poor Nettle Sentinel. Getting destroyed by those icky, mean angels. How could they? Okay, untap. Draw a card. Let's see. What do we got? Cradle of Vitality. Ooh. 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 I'm liking this. Let's see. So we don't have lifelink yet. Let's go ahead and play Radiant here. We'll go and pay 5, play Radiant. So Radiant is currently a, let's see. So it starts out as a 3/3, but then it gets +1/+1 for each other flying creature. So we have 6 other flying creatures, making Radiant a 9/9 creature. Let's see. What do we want to do? Who do we want to attack? Because I think we want to attack somebody. The elves, well, everybody has a lot of stuff out, which is why I think that attacking is probably a good choice. So let me think about this. Yeah, I think the elves, actually. Let's go ahead and swing at the elves for 7 damage. So, bringing up life totals, the elves are going to take 7. That's a decent chunk. And Radiant is going to be dealing huge chunks by itself next turn. So, and it's especially helpful that we have 2 creatures of vigilance, so we can play offense and defense. But that being said, Azuri, with its ability to activate next turn, especially with Elvish Guidance out, it's going to get at least 1... It could get 2 activations of Azuri next turn, so that's no bueno for us. Let's see, untap, draw a card. Swamp. Oof. Okay. Pick up the Swamp. Or actually, I guess we're just going to play it, so it doesn't really matter here. Pay 3 mana. Equip Illusionist Bracers. Tap 1 to activate Ghoulcaller Gissa to sacrifice Gravecrawler, creating 4 zombies. Like this, like so. Then we will pay 1 more and cast Gravecrawler from our graveyard. Sweet. That's all we're going to do. We can't attack this turn, but we can attack next turn if we want to. We can start maybe putting pressure on somebody. Okay. Untap. Draw a card. Thopter Spy Network. Let's go and put Academy Ruin into play. Let's see. So we actually kind of do want to do the Thopter Spy Network so that we can attack. So let's go ahead and do this, and we will play Thopter Spy Network. And that's because Inspiring Statuary makes it so that we can tap artifacts to pay for non-artifact spells. So we only need to pay 2 blue for that because we tapped 2 artifacts that we don't really need to care about too much. Okay, so let's see. We can swing for 4 at somebody, and I think we want to because we can't swing at the Angels yet, but we can swing at somebody else. So let me think. We don't want to swing at the Angels because they have stuff, basically. Let me think about this. It's between the elves and the zombies. Both of them are scary. I think maybe the elves are slightly more dangerous just because of their... Oh, Azuri. Azuri is so strong. Okay, so we're going to do that. Second main, maybe this is where we... Maybe we need Aether Gale this turn. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and pay 4. Tap one of the mirrors that we have. I'm going to just go ahead and turn them both sideways. It doesn't... Let's see. Let's turn them both sideways and leave Academy Ruins. Actually, no. We'll leave an island untapped. There we go. So we're going to cast Aether Gale. Yeah, that is... It's just non-artifact spells. Okay. So Aether Gale. We get to return 6 non-land permanents to their owner's hands. So I think we want to return... Ooh, that's disgusting. We're going to return Azuri to their hand. We're going to return the forest that's enchanted with Elvish Guidance to their hand so that Elvish Guidance falls off and is destroyed. We're going to return... So that's 2. We're going to return Ghoul Caller Gissa to their owner's hand. And maybe also... the Illusionist Bracers. We're going to return that to their hands. So now we need 2 more. We've picked 4. We need 2 more. So the Angels. Let's go ahead and after that we're done with the turn because we don't have anything else that we can do. So we're going to pass back to the Elves, but we're going to have... We have to return non-land. So we're going to return the Sarah Avenger and Radiant back to the Angel's hand is what we're going to do. Wow, that was kind of a massive swing for the for them. That's okay though. Let's see. Untap. They all can get back. It's not that bad, but it's still kind of like the elves got punked twice at this point. We're going to play a forest. Let's go ahead and pay 3 for Azuri because we do have another land. So next turn we can activate Azuri 1 time. And then maybe we can think about Imperious Perfect. I'm not sure. Actually, we're not going to be able to attack this turn, but we can go ahead and tap 3 of our elves. So 2 of them are untapped. And we're going to use that 3 mana. So Heritage Druid, tap 3 untapped elves you control to add 3 green mana to your mana pool. So we're going to do that, and that's going to add a +1/+1 counter to Azuri. So that's actually a pretty good one. And next turn we just play another forest, and then we can activate Azuri at least 1 time. Maybe 2 if we decide to. We might decide to go ahead and go for 2 to get some additional damage on fewer numbers of creatures. Okay. Untap. Upkeep, draw. Let's see. Pearl Medallion. That's a good one. Let's go ahead and Pearl Medallion it up. So, Pearl Medallion. Then we will pay 4 and play Radiant again. That's sweet. And that also means that next turn we'll probably play 2 spells and we'll be basically pretty much in line for Slate of Ancestry. So, let's see. I think that Sunblast Angel is going to swing for 4 damage in retaliation against the Thopter deck, so they're going to lose 4 life. And this is where we're at right now. Is this some damage? This is a little bit more of an even fight, more what I expect to happen in these games. We are done for the turn. And Radiant is still going to be great. So untap, draw a card. Fleshbag Marauder. Okay. So let me think about this. We only have 5 mana, which isn't great. But I think that... Let me think about this. I mean, I think Ghoul Color Gissa is still our main game plan right now. So we're going to Ghoul Color Gissa. And it means that next turn we'll be able to equip Illusionist Bracers. Maybe we'll draw an extra swamp and be able to do some stuff with that. But we do have 4 zombies now that we're sitting here. So let's go and swing the 4 zombies at somebody. Let's think about this. The Thopters kind of did us dirty, so I'm kind of tempted to do that. The Elves, though, definitely have some strength there. And they're set up for Azuri. They're essentially going to get activating Azuri next turn, which kind of worries me a little bit. The Angels, though, do have that really swingy Angel, like 9 damage or more each turn. Let me think about this. The Thopters are pretty... They did stuff to us last turn, but I'm not like too concerned about that. They did it pretty evenly, so I think maybe it's okay if we leave them alone. So that means that we're looking at the Elves and the Angels, and the Elves seem like maybe more of a problem than the Angels are. Especially because, well, maybe if we let them... Maybe we attack the Angels this turn, because they're only going to kill one of our zombies. But then maybe that means that they'll be more open for an attack the following turn, because they do have a bunch of blockers. They have 2 untapped Elves, Heritage Druid, Imperious Perfect, Ivy Lane Druid, or Denizen, Ivy Lane Denizen, and Azuri. So they could try to tap down and attack somebody next turn, so maybe we try to make it so that it's not us. Let's go ahead and attack the Angels. One of the zombies will be blocked, the other ones go through, so we get 6 damage through on the Angels, which is a decent hit. That's not too bad of a hit. And we will pass after that, because we're going to make so many zombies. We have so many zombies. Easy zombies. Easy. Okay, so... untap. Oh, wait. Oof. That wasn't exactly right. No, that wasn't right at all. Oh no. Aether Gale and 6 non-land perms. We couldn't have returned the land that was enchanted with Elvish Guidance. We could return Elvish Guidance back to their hand, but not the land itself. So actually last turn they would have played Elvish Guidance and Heritage Druid, or I mean Imperious Perfect, because they would have had the mana for it. They couldn't have done anything with Azuri, but that just delayed them 1 turn, so ouch. Untap, upkeep. During our upkeep we get a free Thopter. Draw a card. Joyra's Familiar. Let's play a land. Do we want to do that? I think maybe we... Let's see. I think we swing with 4 Thopters. So this is 4 Thopters, and we have an untapped Thopter. Okay, we swing 4 Thopters at the Elves, because the Elves are about to just stomp everybody once again. Let's see. So, 4 damage to the Elves. They're at 25. Okay. which means we draw a card from Thopter Spy Network. Okay, so reverse engineer. Let's go ahead and, well, let's do 1, 2, 3. Let's do it like this. 1, 2, 3, and 2 blue to cast reverse engineer. So we get to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Now mimic that. That's all that we bite into Thassa, which is good, but it's, you know, like a turn late now. Okay, well, I guess we do tap 4, we play bite into Thassa, we get a second one there, another mirror. Let's go and find if we have another mirror. We have another mirror right there. We don't have pretty much any other untapped mana. Oh, this is bad. Okay, well, that's all we could do. Yeah, that's pretty much all we could do. The elves are about to just... Somebody is flattened this turn, I think. Okay. Untap. Well, we got that untap as well. Untapped. This right here. It looks like that. Upkeep, draw. We drew a card. Let's play this forest. We do have Door of Destinies, which makes this even more ridiculous if we start drawing more elves. Maybe let's go ahead and do that. Well, let's see. Do we... How much mana do we get out of Elvish Guidance? We get 1, 2, 8... No, wait, sorry. 1, 2... I can think, I swear. Sorry. 7, 8, and 9 mana. We get 9 mana out of it. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll tap 1, tap Imperious Perfect to create another elf. So we have an untapped elf right here. That means that Elvish Guidance taps for 10 mana now. But we can just go ahead and we tap Elvish, or we tap the Wirewood Lodge to untap Imperious Perfect, tap it again for a second elf. Wow. Okay. So that's 11 mana. We can't do anything with the additional mana there, but that's kind of okay. We're sort of fine with that. So tap here. We have 2 activations of Izuri. So it's +6/+6 to all of my creatures. Oh, and 2 more elves came into play, so we get to put 2+1/+1 encounters on something. We'll put it on Izuri. Who do we attack? So the angels have a ridiculously powerful flying creature that they can slam us with. Zombies are kind of down and out. They're almost certainly going to equip the bracers next turn. And probably attack us, which we won't be able to do anything about. But they're not going to kill us next turn. So I think we can put them, and they're not really going to do anything too important. When it comes to the Thopter deck, the Thopters are really set up to do something crazy because that they may be drawing 7 cards next turn. That's a lot. That's a lot of cards. They could do a lot with 7 cards. They could bounce our entire board. So maybe we do that because the Angel deck is definitely problematic, but maybe we're okay with them getting another turn because it's the Wrath effect. I think that's what we're afraid of. But they have so few cards in their hand and they haven't Wrathed yet. They only have 3 cards. So I don't know that. It feels like they would have played a Wrath. I guess they could arguably bounce their Sunblast Angel. It's the drawing all the extra cards that concerns me. So I think that's why I'm going to decide to attack the Thopters here. So we have 6 attacking there. So that's 36, 42 damage by themselves. They have 3, 4, 5 blockers, including their commander. What is their life total at? Okay, so 36 life. So we do. Let me think. So if we do just do those 6 creatures, what are we looking at in terms of damage? They have 2 Thopters, 1 Mirror, so that's 3 toughness. Let's spin a little bit. Their commander has 4 and 6, so 9 toughness total. So those 6 aren't enough. We do 42 damage. They're blocking 9 of it. So 33. So we need a little bit more damage than that. So I think that one more creature here does it for that. The question is, do we also attack somebody else? And I think that maybe we do here. I think we do attack somebody else. That should be enough to take them to take out the Thopters. So let's go ahead and attack the zombies with 2 creatures. That'll bring them down a decent chunk as well, because they're not going to be able to do any. They're not going to be able to block enough to really take out our commander or anything. So let's see. Does the Thopters, knowing that they're going to die, purposefully overblock on one thing to kill it? And I think that they go ahead and do. They'll go ahead and kill. Or not, can they? 6, 7. We're dealing 3, 4, 5, 6. So no, we can't deal enough. We'll just overblock anyway, but it doesn't actually kill anybody. Let's see. So these 2 are attacking the zombies. That's 12 damage total plus, so it's 17, 18, 19 damage total. So let's see. The Thopters take, we said 42 minus 9, 33 plus 7 more, so they took 40 damage. There we go. And the zombies are going to take, because they can block with 1 creature with Gissa, so they're not going to, I don't think. I wouldn't, because I need Gissa to try to make some zombies, basically. Okay. So that means 19 damage, I said, total. So let's do... No, wait. Crap. There we go. 19 damage, and we also take... sorry. We take 6, 9, 11 commander damage. Yikes. That's rough. That's the elf. That's the elf deck. Okay. So that's that turn. Let's go ahead and pass over to the Angel's turn. Okay. Untap. Okay, draw a card. Throne of the High City. Okay, so that's not really that great. I think at this point what we have to do is I don't want to get rid of these cards, but I kind of need to draw cards and try to get to a Wrath effect. So I think what I need to do is pay 4 here for Slate of Ancestry, pay 4 more to tap it, discard my hand, and draw 2 more cards. Still not really what I need, unfortunately. Okay, so then that means we're attacking with those 2 creatures against the elf deck. So that is, unfortunately, only 4, 8 damage total. So the elves are going to be at 17 life. So the zombies like need something super strong right now. The zombies need to be able to pull some crazy card out of their deck. So, untap. Upkeep, like, that's not it. Although, okay, so I think this is our, um, sort of throw all caution to the wind and try to do something card. So we're going to pay 4 mana and cast Fraying Omnipotence. So each player loses half their life. So let's go ahead and bring that up. Let's do it one at a time. So bring up this. The elves, it's rounded up each time. So the elves are losing 9 life. Yeah, because it's 8.5, so it's 9. The angels are losing half their life. Let me think. 17.5, so 18 life. And the zombies are down to 10. Because they lose 11. Okay. Now, then each player discards half the cards in their hand. So I have this many cards. We are going to dump these 3 cards. Is that what we do? I don't really want to get rid of some of this stuff, but at the same time, I don't know. Let's see. Maybe Ashnod's Altar is a decently good card to keep. So we'll get rid of those 3. And the angels are going to get rid of... They have to get rid of 1 card. So they are getting rid of this Plains. So let's go and turn a little bit back. Actually, let's go... I need to clean up the Thopters real quick. And also, let's go ahead and take off the life totals, because we're done with the life totals for this part of the effect. You are donezo. All of these gone. Poor Thopters. Got eaten again. What would be the next 8, like 8 cards? I'm curious. What was the next 8 cards that we had? Oh, Aetherize. Holy cow. Yeah, Aetherize would have been fantastic. Okay. The elves only had 1 card in their hand. It's Door of Destiny, so they have to discard it. The last part of Fraying Omnipotence's effect is each player sacrifices half the creatures they control. So I have 5 creatures. I have to get rid of 3 of them. Let's go ahead and get rid of these 3 right here. So 2 tokens and Gravecrawler. This deck over here is going to get rid of this angel right here. Bye-bye Sunblast. Okay, and that means that elves are going to have to get rid of half of their creatures rounded up. They have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they have to get rid of 6 creatures. I guess that just means 5 of these elves and 1 of the blockers here. So we pretty much are still set up to just rock face here very quick, very shortly. Oh, no. And then I need to decide if I am attacking this turn or if I'm doing something else. I kind of think that maybe I should block. Is that what I want to do? It's kind of too bad that I didn't have Vengeful Dead out when this happened, because there was... If I had a little bit more mana, but I just wasn't drawing any mana, unfortunately. So maybe we leave ourselves up to block, because then it makes it harder for the zombie, or for the elf deck to just overrun us and kill 2 players in 1 turn. Because they still should be able to activate at least 1 time. Probably 2 times. Almost certainly 2 times. Okay, elf deck going. Untap. Untap, draw a card. Shamanic Revelation. um, so that's a card. Let me think about this. What is people's life total at? 10 for the zombies and 17 for the angels. Um, Let me think about this. Can we? So how much damage can we deal? So we can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana with Elvish Guidance. So we can't activate a second time. Not really. I mean, we can. Do we kill? This is a little tough. Let me think about this. What do I want to do? Because the zombies do have 2 blockers. Shamanic Revelation would almost certainly get me into the game in a way that the other 2 are not going to be able to get back into the game. But we're not going to be able to kill somebody. And I don't see my problem as we can guarantee kill one person this turn, but the next turn, can we guarantee that? And the zombies and the angels will be able to really hurt us because it's possible that the angels have another angel in hand, or at least they can play their commander, which means that that angel will deal 4 damage next turn, and then they'll have enough to kill us on the turn after that. I guess I think maybe we go ahead and we tap 1, we tap Imperious Perfect, we make another elf. This one can't block. Or, I mean, it can't attack this turn. Then we untap. So we untap Imperious Perfect, we tap it again, so we get a second elf here. Then we tap this for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. So 2 of that mana we're not going to be able to do anything with, but we do get +5 or +3/+3 one time. So we had 2 floating mana. We're going to let it go. We go ahead and swing at the zombie deck because they can block 2 creatures. They could overblock with... Could they kill Azuri? So 2 power, let me look. No, okay, so they can't kill Azuri. That's good. Oh, wait, and we can just put 2 more counters on Azuri. Although maybe we put 2 counters on Ivy Lane Denizen to stop Ivy Lane Denizen from dying. That seems like a smart idea there. Okay, Ivy Lane Denizen is now stronger, so it can't die because it's 7 power. They can deal 5, so we're a little bit above where they can kill it. Because Ivy Lane Denizen is going to be really good for us. Okay, so we over-attacked zombies to make sure that they die, because we're not going to really get... Let me think about this. Let me think about if we want to attack the angel deck, because we're going to need to deal a bunch of damage to the angels as well. So let me think. This is 6 damage. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so 15. They have 4 and 6, so they block 11. Actually, actually, that's okay. So this is 11 damage. With 2 elves, we can deal 11 damage to the zombies. And then these 2 over here can go ahead and attack the angels. So the angel can sacrifice their radiant if they want to, otherwise they take 8 damage. And I think they're going to go ahead because it means that they need to be able to attack this next turn. So zombies are going to, they block 6. Let me double check. 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, actually they block 6, and that's the +3/+3 that we got from Missouri. So then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 damage. Oh, I guess so. Yeah, we do need to attack with 1 more creature. And then one creature's going after the angels. Okay, so I kind of miscounted there a little bit. There we go. So that's how it's going to be. So the zombies are going to block 6. They're going to take 9, 15, 16 damage total. So they are. It's a little overkill. Did I? No wait. Oh wait. They were at 10, so we need this at 16. Okay, so they can block 6. That's this 6 damage right here. So otherwise they're dealing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. This is dealing another 4, so that's 13 damage. Okay. I was like, wait. Yes, that player is dead. The angels are not going to block 4 damage, so they're going to be down to 13. Okay, that works out. That's good. That's how I want to see it. That's everything correct. Angels, come on. This is your chance to wipe the field. You need to draw that wrath effect. This is your second chance, second opportunity for that destiny draw. Untap. Draw a card. Come on. That is not a destiny draw. Okay, so I guess we are paying this. No, wait, we need to... Oh, wait. Oh, man. We have Solemn Offering. We could gain 4 life. I don't think that that's going to help us any because they're going to... They have more attackers next turn, so I don't think that is going to help us at all. Let's go ahead and... Slate of Ancestry will draw 1 card. Come on. 5 mana Wrath Effect. That's all it needs to be. Is a land. Okay, well... Radiant is going... Well, I guess we can go ahead and... pay 5 because the cost is reduced by 1. So we'll play Regna. We'll attack the elves for 4 damage. And we will pass the turn. So the elves get their chance to go bananas. Untap. Untap. Upkeep. Draw a card. Reclaiming Vines. Yeah, whatever. Let's go and activate Elvish Guidance. Well, let's see. Let's... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So actually, let's change this to 3. 7. 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, I kind of want to... I think we can kill the angels without worrying about activating twice because essentially they can only block 2. We'll have 5 others, so that's a lot of damage by itself. So let's go. Let me think about this. If we create 2, we said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Well, let's go and activate this for 7. We have 2 left over, so we'll tap 2 more. We'll gain, or we'll cast Shamanic Revelation. So we'll draw a card for each creature we control, which is 7. So 4, 5, 6, 7. Holy cow. Okay. Well. We also gain 4 life for each creature we control with power 4 or greater, which is every single one of our creatures now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we... Hey, good afternoon, Mad. You're about to see a second game of elves beating down everybody else into submission. The elf deck is gaining 28 life. Let me show what's going on here. There. The elves are doing way better than they should. Not really how better than they should. That's not exactly accurate. But we will go ahead and play a forest. We will play Fentorn elves. That will get us another +1/+1 counter here. And we are set up for winning the game. We win this. We win the game this turn. Feed them to the zombies. I tried to, but the zombies are dead. The zombies got eaten themselves. The elves just kind of tore them apart. Ugh. Poor zombies. Poor everything. 2 games of elves winning. Elves have kept getting like really good combinations of cards, and they just kept being just a little bit better, like just a tiny bit better. And the decks that needed to draw some kind of wrath effect, it didn't draw something to kill off all of the creatures, so the elves kind of were able to take over just a little bit. There was a couple of spots there where it could have been okay, but unfortunately luck favored the elves. Yeah, so basically earlier in the game, if I pick some of this stuff up, earlier in the game, I had a combination out where I have to pull it out. It got destroyed. That's the thing. So I had this combination where I had a creature that whenever I played a spell that was green, it would untap itself. It would untap. And then I enchanted it so that I would have an effect where I could tap it and create an elf creature. So what was happening is I also had this card down here, Elvish Guidance. Whenever the land is tapped for mana, its controller adds a green mana to his or her mana pool for each elf in play. So basically I was going, okay, tap for 3 or 4 mana, and so then I would play an elf, untap this guy, create another elf, then tap him to create another elf, then play another elf, which would untap this guy, which then I would then tap him to create another elf. I just keep doing that over and over each turn. So I was playing like 2 to 4 cards a turn and getting 2 to 4 additional free elves every turn, which was then making this enchantment tap for more mana so that I could play even more spells. It was kind of crazy. It got destroyed, but not before it had already done all of the damage for a game that I could possibly deal. But that being said, the zombie deck can do the same thing. All of these decks can kind of do the same thing. If they get the right cards at just the right time, they'd go crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up. I did 2 different games in about 2 hours, and I think that's a pretty good amount of time. So I think I'm probably going to go ahead and clean up. How's your weekend been so far? Let's see. Just need to pick some of this stuff up. I've been just kind of doing basic things. I've been playing around with that Mid-Journey thing, that program that kind of like generates art images. It's kind of fun, honestly. It's like super easy to use, but you can make a lot of different interesting stuff, and I think I'm going to basically be using it for inspiration for other things, like just giving me kind of basic conceptual stuff, because I don't think like overall that I'd want to try to, I mean, like it could be really interesting to try to create an entire, like maybe a comic or something using AI generated images, but at the same time you can kind of get you can sort of force them to kind of give you exactly what you're looking for. So at the same time, it's kind of like, as well as the like implication that it is reading images from the internet pretty much. And, like, being careful or cognizant of how it kind of takes stuff that other people have actually created. But I don't know. I still think it's kind of neat. I was doing that. I was actually also writing some stuff. I think I want to try to, like I said, using that stuff for inspiration. So I think I'm actually going to try to write something. I don't know what's actually going to come out of it fully yet, but at some point maybe I'll have written something like a short story, basically. But I think that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. I don't have anybody to really raid. All of the people that I know kind of already got done. So I'm going to just go ahead and close the stream. But thank you, everybody who joined. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I am hoping to stream one more time this week. I think I want to try to set up for the deck that I built last week. Try to set up for playing that one. So we'll see. We'll see if that works. But oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I love this table. I think it's great. All right. Until next time.